Okay, so we're trying to create a perfect square trinomial. Is this a perfect square trinomial? No, that's not a perfect square. So what we want to do is we want to create a perfect square. So I want my C value to be a perfect square. How do you find C? B divided by 2 squared. What's B? 4. This negative 4 divided by 2 squared equals positive 4. Okay, so if I put a plus 4 here, I've created a perfect square trinomial. But like I said, you can't just add 4 to something magically, but I can put 4, take away 4, because 4 take away 4 is nothing. So really technically you're adding nothing here, right? But we still have this plus 5 that was part of the equation. I need to keep that there. Yes. I want to remove this minus 4 from the bracket. Because the A value is 1, technically it's not going to change this negative 4 value, because 1 times negative 4 is still negative 4. Okay? So inside the bracket, what you want to keep inside your bracket is the perfect square trinomial. So x squared minus 4x plus 4. This 1 times negative 4 is negative 4.
Negative 4 plus 5.
But then I still have the plus 5.
And we simplified it. It was 1. And, well, look,
Now that we have a perfect square trinomial, let's factor it. What's the factored form of this trinomial? Square root of 4 is 2, and this is negative. What's the factored form? X minus 4 squared. Let's simplify this. What's a negative 4 plus 1? I mean, negative 4 plus 5?
5 minus 1.
Positive 1. Good. And now we have the equation in vertex form. Can you tell me where the vertex is located? Plus 4 and positive 1. Now you know where the vertex is. And because of that glitch, I accidentally put the square root of 4 is 4, but that's incorrect. Square root of 4 is 2. So the vertex is at positive 2 and 1. Sorry about that. Okay, we're going to try another example. This quadratic equation is in what form right now? Standard form. So again, we're going to complete the square to put this into vertex form. So this is the only thing you haven't learned yet, is putting standard form to vertex form up until today, right? What's different about this one is that, what is the A value?
There's a number.
Negative 2.25. There's an A value that's not 1. We know that we're trying to create a perfect square trinomial. Is this a perfect square? Is 6.75 a perfect square? Is a square root not a decimal? We know that we're going to be working with the first 2 terms to try and create the perfect square, right? But because there is a value of A that's not 1, we need to factor that out. You need to factor out your A value. So, is there a greatest common factor of only the first 2 terms? We're partial factoring right now. We're only dealing with the first 2 terms because those are the terms that we're going to use to create the perfect square. We're not using 6.5, okay? We're not using that. Is there a common factor of this term and this term? So if we divide this by negative 2.25 and this term, the B term, by negative 2.25, only factoring out the coefficient. The reason is because to create a perfect square trinomial, you have to have x squared. It has to be a square term, right? So we're factoring out this negative 2.25. Okay, that cancels out. We're left with x squared. Positive divided by a negative is negative. What's 4.5 divided by 2.25?
Negative 2.
Yeah, is 2. And we keep the x, okay? And we still have this plus 6.75. We're not using the greatest common factor for the last term because we're not dealing with that right now. We're only trying to create a perfect square trinomial right here. So we need to figure out this c value. Again, how do you find c? C is equal to b divided by 2 squared. What's my new b value? Good, -2. So -2 divided by 2 squared equals 1. So I need to add in plus 1, but then I have to take away 1, right?
Oh, I remember.
Okay, we have to add in plus 1, but we have to take away 1.
Why?
Because you cannot just randomly add in a 1 to an equation. If I put in 1, take away 1, I'm technically adding nothing. Okay, so now I have -2.25 bracket x squared minus 2x plus 1, right? This is my perfect square. I need to get rid of this -1, but what happens here? Look, a is not 1, so we have to distribute that. -2.25 times -1 becomes, that's going to be outside the bracket. That's how I'm getting rid of it. I'm moving it outside the bracket by distributing it. So it's positive 2.25, and what do I have to still keep? Plus 6.75. We're almost there. Now we just need to simplify. So I have my a. Can you factor this perfect square? Square root of x squared. X, square root of 1. 1, and the sign is, and it's squared. Can you simplify this part? What is 6.75 plus 2.25? 9. Is this vertex form? Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. You just went from standard form to vertex form, and now that you have it in vertex form, you can tell me where's the vertex located. +1, and look at that.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.